Hi, this is Brianna Schaefer reviewing the flipped classroom. I'll be reviewing the three branches of government. We will be reviewing the judicial, the executive, and legislative branches. In the judicial branch, there are 9 justices of the Supreme Court. They are appointed by the president. They decide if laws are constitutional or not, and they can overturn rulings by other lower federal courts. The executive branch, the president is elected every 4 years. The president appoints federal judges as well as cabinet members, and they can sign and veto laws. The legislative branch, there are 2 senators from each state. The number of congressmen is based on population of each state. They are the ones that make the laws, and they approve presidential appointments. In the judicial branch, this is the Supreme Court. It is the highest court in the country. The justices can serve a life term. The 9 justices are nominated by the president and must be approved by the Senate with at least 51 votes. There are other lower federal courts, and they evaluate laws to determine if they are constitutional or not. The executive branch is constructed of the president, the vice president, and the cabinet. The president is the head of state, head of the U.S. government, and the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. The vice president acts as the presiding officer of the Senate, supports the president, and takes the place of the president should the president become permanently unavailable. Cabinet members are also nominated by the president and must be approved by the Senate with at least 51 votes. They serve as advisors and heads of various departments and agencies. The legislative branch, also known as Congress, is composed of the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Senate, there are 100 elected senators total, 2 from each state, and each senator serves a 6-year term. The House of Representatives, there are currently 435 elected representatives. The number of representatives is based on the population of each state. Each representative serves a 2-year term, and they may be re-elected. Any member of Congress can introduce a bill, which, if approved, can become a law. The judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court, they preside in the Supreme Court building, which was completed in 1935. The executive branch would be the president, the vice president, and the president's cabinet. They do their work in the White House, which was built in 1792. It was burned by the British in the War of 1812. In 1814 is when it was burned, and the exterior walls were painted white to hide the smoke damage. That's how it got the name for the White House. It is also the most prominent address known to most people, which is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The legislative branch, which is Congress, they actually meet in the U.S. Capitol building. However, this is the Library of Congress. It officially serves the Congress as the research library, and it is the second largest library in the world. There are checks and balances between the 3 branches of government, as you can see from the flow chart right here. The systems of checks and balances was created to make a separation of power between the 3 branches of government. It was designed by the Constitution to keep the government from getting too powerful in one branch by having the power to restrain the other 2 branches in several ways. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation and were able to follow along, and thank you very much.